You know, if you've been following along on our reading plan, you will finish reading the entire Bible next week. By the end of this week, Saturday, you'll be all done. You'll have read the Bible through the whole way. If you haven't, catch up. Get through it. I'll tell you what, it's quite an accomplishment. Well, it's Christmas. Traditionally, we would be telling the story of Jesus' birth, the whole nativity scene, right? And tell them I'm busy, whoever that is. Okay. You guys have heard the story of Jesus' birth so many times. So today, I want to tell you the Christmas story in a little bit different way, with the help of some great Christian authors and a little bit of my own imagination. Now, I know you've heard the story of Jesus' birth from the gospel writers and from their perspectives, the way that they were told. But have you ever heard the story of the birth of Jesus from other people's perspectives who were there? I mean, think about it. There were many people involved in the whole process of Jesus' birth. Mary, of course, Joseph, the shepherds, and the angels. What about the angels? Have you ever heard the story from the angels' point of view? Today, I want you to put yourself in the place of an angel. What if you were the angel, Gabriel, who was sent by God to announce to Mary that she was going to give birth to the Son of God? Listen to this story from Max Lucado's book, An Angel's Story. Gabriel. Just the sound of my king's voice stirred my heart. I left my post at the entryway and stepped into the throne room. To my left was the desk on which sat the book of life. Ahead of me was the throne of the Almighty God. I entered the circle of unceasing light, folded my wings before me to cover my face, and knelt before him. Yes, my Lord, you have served the kingdom well. You are a noble messenger. Never have you flinched in duty. Never have you flagged in zeal. I bowed my head, basking in his words. Whatever you ask, I'll do 1,000 times over, my king. I promised. Of that, I have no doubt, dear messenger. His voice assumed a solemnity I'd never heard him use. But your greatest work lies ahead of you. Your next assignment is to carry a gift to earth. Behold, I lifted my eyes to see a necklace, a clear vial on a golden chain, dangling from his extended hand. My father spoke earnestly. Though empty, this vial will soon contain my greatest gift. Place it around your neck, Gabriel. I was about to take it when a raspy voice interrupted me. And what treasure will you send to earth this time? My back stiffened at the irreverent tone, and my stomach turned at the sudden stench. Such foul odor could only come from one being. I drew my sword and turned to do battle with Lucifer. The Father's hand on my shoulder stopped me. Worry not, Gabriel. He will do no harm. Your news must be urgent, spat Satan to God, still unable to bear the light. My Father's response was a pronouncement. The time has come for the second gift. The frame beneath the cape bounced stiffly as Lucifer chuckled. The second gift, eh? I hope it works better than the first. You're disappointed with the first? Asked the Father. Oh, quite the contrary. I've delighted in it. Lifting a bony finger, he spelled a word in the air. C-H-O-I-C-E. Choice. You gave Adam his choice, Satan scoffed. And what a choice he made. He chose me. Ever since the fruit was plucked from the tree in the garden, I've held your children captive. They fell fast, hard. They are mine. You have failed. You speak so confidently, replied the Father, astounding me with his patience. Lucifer stepped forward, his cloak dragging behind him. Of course, I thwart everything you do. You soften hearts, I harden them. You teach truth, I shadow it. You offer joy, I steal it. He pivoted and paraded around the room, boasting of his deeds. The betrayal of Joseph by his brothers. I did that. David watching Bathsheba bathe. That was me. You must admit my work has been crafty. Crafty? Perhaps. But effective? No. I know what you will do even before you do it. I used the betrayal of Joseph to deliver my people from famine. Your banishment of Moses became his wilderness training. And yes, David did commit adultery with Bathsheba, but he repented of his sins. And thousands have been inspired by his example and found what he found, unending grace. Your deceptions have only served as platforms for my mercy. You are still my servant, Satan. When will you learn? Your feeble attempts to disturb my work only enable my work. Every act you have intended for evil, I have used for good. Lucifer lurked around the room, breathing loudly, searching for words to say and a shadow from which to say them. He finally found the words, but never the shadow. Show me, O King of Light. Show me one person on the earth who always does right and obeys your will. Dare you ask? You know there need only be one perfect one. Only one sinless one to die for all the others. I know your plans. And you have failed. No Messiah will come from your people. There is none who is sinless, not one. He turned his back to the desk and began naming God's children. Not Moses, not Abraham, not Lot, not Rebekah, not Elijah. The Father stood up from his throne, releasing a wave of holy light so intense that Lucifer staggered backward and fell. "Those are my children, you mock." God's voice boomed. "You think you know much, fallen angel, but you know little. Your mind dwells in the valley of self. Your eyes see no further than your own needs." The king walked over and reached for the book. He turned it toward Lucifer and commanded, "Come, deceiver, read the name of the one who will call your bluff. Read the name of the one who will storm your gates." Satan rose slowly off his haunches. Like a wary wolf, he walked a wide circle toward the desk until he stood before the volume and read the word. "Emmanuel," he muttered to himself, then spoke in a tone of disbelief. "God with us?" For the first time, the hooded head turned squarely toward the face of the Father. "No, not even you would do that. Not even you would go that far. You've never believed in me, Satan." "But Emmanuel, the plan is bizarre. You don't know what it is like on earth. You don't know how dark I've made it. It's putrid. It's evil. It is mine," proclaimed the king, "and I will reclaim what is mine. I will become flesh. I will feel what my creatures feel. I will see what they see. But what of their sin? I will bring mercy. What of their death? I will give life." Satan stood speechless. God spoke, "I love my children. Love does not take away the beloved's freedom, but love takes away fear. And Emmanuel will leave behind a tribe of fearless children. They will not fear you or your hell." Satan stepped back at that thought. His retort was childish. They will too." "I will take away all sin. I will take away death. Without sin and without death, you have no power, Satan." Around and around in a circle Satan paced, clenching and unclenching his wiry fingers. And when he finally stopped, he asked a question that even I was thinking. "Why? Why would you do this?" The Father's voice was deep and soft. "Because I loved them." The two stood facing each other. Neither spoke. The extremes of the universe were before me. God, robed in light, each thread glowing. Satan, canopied in evil, the very fabric of his robe seeming to crawl. Peace contrasting panic. Wisdom confronting foolishness. One able to rescue, the other anxious to condemn. "Where will we battle?" he challenged. "On a hill called Calvary." "If you make it that far." Satan smirked, spinning and marching out the entryway. I watched as his spiny wings extended and he soared into the heavenlies. The Father stood motionless for a moment, then turned back to the book. Opening to the final chapter, he slowly read words I had never heard. No sentences, just words, saying each and then pausing. Jesus, nail, cross, tomb, life. He motioned toward me, and I responded, kneeling again before him. Handing me the necklace, he explained, "This vial will contain the essence of myself, a seed to be placed in the womb of a young girl. Her name is Mary. She lives among my chosen people. The fruit of the seed is the Son of God. Take it to her." I could not comprehend God's plan, but my understanding was not essential. My obedience was. I lowered my head, and he draped the chain around my neck. Amazingly, the vial was no longer empty. It glowed with light. Jesus. Have you ever thought about the story of Jesus from Gabriel's perspective before? It's an interesting thought. I know this is made up from the mind of a creative author, but I'm sure it could have happened this way. After all, we never hear anything from the perspective of those angels that God sends to do his bidding. It must have been something like that. This miracle that we commemorate every year in a celebration that we call Christmas was witnessed from many different perspectives. We only hear about a few. For instance, I have often wondered, what do you think the experience of Jesus' birth was like for the innkeeper in Bethlehem? Put yourself in his shoes. What a crazy day. In all the years I've been an innkeeper, I've never completely filled up the inn before. But this census, man, it's really helped business. There are no rooms left. And the other innkeepers are all saying the same thing. No vacancies. Boy, if this keeps up, I'll have to hang a sign outside so I won't have to keep turning people down. It's so late. But every time I start to go to bed, somebody else shows up. Uh-oh. Looks like another couple is coming. Boy, I hate telling people we're full. Oh, no, it looks like she's pregnant. Here comes the man up to the door. Oh, this is going to be tough. Sorry, we're all full. No rooms left. Oh, don't you have just one room, please? A small room, anything. Nope, sorry. We're completely booked. Do you see that lady out there on the donkey? That's my wife. She's due and she could deliver any moment. Do you want a baby to be born here in your doorway? No, sir, of course not. But I'm sorry, I can't help you. Please understand, there are just no rooms left. Okay, I understand, but it's very late and it's cold outside. Don't you at least have a place that we could rest out of the night air? What am I supposed to say to this couple? It's times like this I hate being an innkeeper. What can I do? God, please help me. You know I want to do the right thing. My goal in life has always been to please you, God. And I can't help but feel that this young couple is somehow special. I don't want to turn them away. What should I do? God, you know I would gladly wake up some of the people that I have in my inn and give this couple their room if you told me to do that. Tell me what you want me to do. What's that, God? Send them to my stable. But a stable is no place for a young lady about to give birth. It smells like sheep. What happens if she has the baby tonight? What? What's that? Oh, this is part of your plan for this family? Are you sure, God? Okay. I'll offer them the stable. What is your name, young man? I'm Joseph. This is my wife, Mary. Oh, okay. Well, wait here a minute. I'm gonna get a lantern. Behind you is a trail which will lead behind the inn and down a hill. Follow it until you come to a stable. It's clean, at least as clean as a stable can be. And you'll be warm there tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't be more accommodating. I'll come and check on you first thing in the morning. Tomorrow, I will find a room for you, I promise. Oh, that's very gracious, innkeeper. Thank you. Thank you for your hospitality. Okay, God. I hope that was really your voice I heard. Please, God, be with this young couple tonight. Keep them safe and warm. And please, be with this unborn child. I keep feeling like there's something special about this baby. Good night, my dear Lord. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go to sleep now. And you can imagine the hubbub that was going on when this innkeeper got up the next morning and went to check on this young couple. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Everyone's so excited. People are singing and shouting. There are shepherds praising God and singing worship songs in my stable. Oh, there are people all around my inn. They're talking about a baby. What are they saying? He's the Messiah? Born here in Bethlehem? Wow, that's great. And where are they saying he is? I got to go check this out for myself. Right after I check on this couple. Oh, it looks like the young lady gave birth last night. Oh, a baby was born in my stable. Oh, she's made a cradle out of the manger. But what are all these people doing here? Hey, they're worshiping the child. Wait, this baby is the Messiah? In my stable? Oh no! Oh God, what have I done? I turned the Savior of the world away from my inn and forced him to be born in a stable. I hope you're having a good time. I mean, it's interesting to think about the story that we hear every Christmas, but from different perspectives. I can just imagine the overwhelming abundance of emotions that innkeeper must have felt finding out God's Son was born in his stable. I mean, joy, obviously, because the Messiah chose his inn to come to, but sadness because he had turned the Christ away from a comfortable bed. But can you imagine, coming from a businessman's point of view, the marketing and advertising he did after Joseph and Mary took Jesus and left? Jesus slept here, right? I mean, you can see it. He had signs all over the place from then on, I'll bet. And think about Joseph. We don't talk a whole lot about Joseph. Matter of fact, the Bible has no words from Joseph at all. We don't even know if he talked. We don't know what he said. We don't know how long Joseph was around. We know he wasn't at Jesus' crucifixion, which most likely means that he died before then. We don't know, but what a wild ride for him this whole thing must have been, right? From his book, Cast of Characters, Max Lucado writes this: from Joseph's point of view, oh, this isn't the way I planned it, God. Not at all. My child being born in a stable? This isn't the way I thought it would be. A cave with sheep and donkeys, hay and straw everywhere. My wife giving birth with only the stars to hear her pain. This isn't at all like I imagined. No, I imagined family. I imagined grandmothers. I imagined neighbors clustered around the door and friends standing at my side. I imagine the house erupting with the first cry of the infant, slaps on the back, loud laughter, jubilation. That's how I thought it would be. The midwife would hand me my child, and all the people would applaud. Mary would rest, and we would celebrate. All of Nazareth would celebrate. But now look. Nazareth is 5 days away from here. And here we are in a sheep pasture. Who's going to celebrate with us? The sheep? The shepherds? The stars? This just doesn't seem right. Oh, what kind of a husband am I? I provide no midwife to aid Mary, no bed to rest her back. Her pillow is a blanket I got from the donkey. My house for her is a shed of hay. The smell, oh dear God, the smell is bad. The animals are so loud. But I even smell like a shepherd myself. Did I miss something? Did I, God? When you sent the angel and spoke of a son being born, this isn't what I pictured. I envisioned Jerusalem, the temple, the priests, and the people gathered around to watch. A pageant, perhaps. A parade. A banquet, at least. I mean, this is the Messiah. Or, if not born in Jerusalem, how about Nazareth? Wouldn't Nazareth have been better than this? At least there I have my house, I have my business. Out here, what do I have? A tired mule? Stack of firewood? A pot of warm water? This is not the way I wanted it to be. This is not the way I wanted my son. Oh my, I did it again, didn't I? I did it again, didn't I, Father? I don't mean to do that. It's just that I forget. He's not my son. He's yours. The child is yours. The plan is yours. The idea is yours. God, forgive me for asking, but is this how God enters the world? The coming of the angel I've accepted. The questions people ask about the pregnancy I can tolerate. The trip to Bethlehem, fine. But why a birth in a stable, God? Any minute now, Mary will give birth, not to a child, but to the Messiah. Not to an infant, but to God. That's what the angel said. That's what Mary believes. And God, my God, that's what I want to believe. But surely you can understand. It's not easy. It seems so bizarre. I'm unaccustomed to such strangeness, God. I'm a carpenter. I make things fit. I square off the edges. I follow the plumb line. I measure twice before I cut once. Surprises are not the friend of a builder. I like to know the plan. I like to see the plan before I even begin. But this time I'm not the builder, am I? This time I'm the tool. A hammer in your grip. A nail between your fingers. A chisel in your hands. This project is yours, not mine. I guess it's foolish of me to question you. Forgive my struggling. Trust doesn't come easy to me, God. But I guess you never said it would be easy, did you? Strange way to save the world. You know, we're never really sure what happened to Joseph. The Bible doesn't make any mention of him after Jesus being left at the temple when he was 12 years old. It appears he may have died before Jesus even began his ministry. But I'm sure life must have been very interesting for him ever since that day Mary told him she was pregnant. Here's one last viewpoint, this time from an outsider's perspective. I'm sure if you were on the outside watching, listening, soaking it all in, you would be in awe as you witnessed God's plan for saving the world arriving, unfolding. This comes from Max Lucado's book, The Arrival. God had entered the world as a baby. Yet, were someone to chance upon the sheep stable on the outskirts of Bethlehem that morning, what a peculiar scene they would behold. The stable stinks, like all stables do. The stench of urine, dung, and sheep reeks pungently in the air. The ground is hard, the hay scarce. Cobwebs cling to the ceiling, and a mouse scurries across the dirt floor. A more lowly place of birth could not exist. Off to one side sit a group of shepherds. They sit silently on the floor, perhaps perplexed, perhaps in awe, no doubt in amazement. Their night watch had been interrupted by an explosion of light from heaven and a symphony of angels. God goes to those who have time to hear him. So on this cloudless night, he went to simple shepherds. Near the young mother sits the weary father. If anyone is dozing, he is. He can't remember the last time he sat down. And now that the excitement has subsided a bit, now that Mary and the baby are comfortable, he leans against the wall of the stable and feels his eyes grow heavy. He still hasn't figured it all out. The mystery of the event puzzles him. But he hasn't the energy to wrestle with the questions. What's important is that the baby is fine and that Mary is safe. So as sleep comes, he remembers the name the angel told him to use. Jesus. We will call him Jesus, he says warily. Wide awake is Mary. My, how young she looks. Her head rests on the soft leather of Joseph's saddle. The pain has been eclipsed by wonder. She looks into the face of the baby, her son, her Lord, his majesty. At this point in history, the human being who best understands who God is and what he is doing is a teenage girl in a smelly stable. She can't take her eyes off him. Somehow Mary knows she is holding God. So, this is God. She remembers the words of the angel. His kingdom will never end. He looks like anything but a king. His face is prunish and red. His cry, though strong and healthy, is still the helpless and piercing cry of a newborn baby. And he is absolutely dependent upon Mary for his well-being. Majesty in the midst of the mundane. Holiness in the filth of sheep manure and sweat. Divinity entering the world on the floor of a stable, through the womb of a teenager, and in the presence of a carpenter. She touches the face of the infant God. How long was your journey? This baby had overlooked the universe. These rags keeping him warm were the robes of eternity. His golden throne room had been abandoned in favor of a dirty sheep pen. And worshiping angels had been replaced with kind but bewildered shepherds. Meanwhile, the city hums. The merchants are unaware that God has visited their planet. The innkeeper would never believe that he had just sent God into the cold. And the people would scoff at anyone who told them the Messiah lay in the arms of a teenager on the outskirts of their village. They were all too busy to consider the possibility. Those who missed His Majesty's arrival that night missed it not because of evil acts or malice. No, they missed it simply because they weren't looking. Little has changed in the last 2,000 years, has it? So how about you? What are you focused on this Christmas? Are you too busy in the hustle and bustle of the Christmas season? Have you missed His presence because you weren't looking for Him? I know we all talk about Jesus being the reason for the season, but is He really? What are you doing today? I mean, think about your Christmas plans, presents, family, food. How many of your plans include intentionally spending time with Christ? Is He really the reason for your season? That's what I want to leave you with today. Please make sure that your plans today include time talking about Christ with others and time with Him yourself. After all, it is His birthday. So what did you get Jesus for His birthday? You know the gift He really wants? You. That's what He wants. He wants time with you. So let's make Christmas about more than just family and food and presents. Let's make sure we remember it's Jesus' birthday. Spend time with Him. Give Him what He wants. Time with you. Everybody close your eyes. We're just going to say a quick prayer. God, thank you for the reminder that you've given us today. The reminder to make Jesus the reason for Christmas. Not just saying those words. But God, as we spend time with our family, as we open our presents, as we eat this delicious Christmas food, we're sitting around and talking and laughing with family and friends. Help us to remember the reason for Christmas and to give Jesus the gift that He really wants, time with us. We don't do enough of that, do we? So God, help us today and help us to make a habit of this from now on. Spend time with Jesus. Just the two of us. Not just telling Him what we want, but listening to what He wants from us and then obeying. We do love you, God, and we love Jesus. Help us to live our lives like we really do, like we mean it. And let it start today, Christmas Day. In Jesus' name, amen. Will you all stand and we're going to sing in closing, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The tidings we bring
To you and your King, the tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We
Wish you a Merry Christmas
We wish you a Merry Christmas
and a Happy New
New Year.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Amen.